Hello and happy Friday. Welcome to another edition of the Sick Podcast with me, your hostess, Kelly Singh. We have several exciting topics to discuss today as it relates to the Arizona Cardinals. So let's get into it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Kelly Singh.
Murray heaves it downfield. It is caught. It is caught. DeAndre Hopkins. Miraculous. It's Murray magic.
The sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Hey. I'm not sure when you'll get a chance to listen to this, but I'm recording on a Friday and I am so glad it's Friday. Let me tell you. Whew, what a week it's been. This week, I want to kick off the show with the topic that has dominated the Arizona Cardinals news cycle, and maybe not just the Cardinals news cycle, but almost the NFL's news cycle for the last few weeks, and that is the search for head coaches. There are 5 teams. There were 5 teams in search of a head coach this off season. And wow, it's just really, like I said, dominated the news cycle. Everybody's talking about who's interviewing where and what the latest is here in Arizona. As of just within the last 24 hours, there has been so many updates. One of them being that the Dallas Cowboys' Dan Quinn, who was really looking like an ideal candidate to come here to Phoenix, he's taken himself out of the race. He said, you know what? I'm going to return to Dallas next year. Thanks, but no thanks. So where does that leave us now? There is always Sean Payton, right? Sean Payton interviewed yesterday, Thursday, January 26th, with the Cardinals organization. And apparently it was a very promising, exciting, great interview. There was a lot of praise that came out of that. But it's not really surprising to me that we are hearing this kind of, oh, it was great, because Sean Payton, he's kind of fallen from grace a little bit, it seems. He was at one point the darling of all available head coaches in the, who's thrown their hat in the ring per se, but interest has really cooled around him, and that most of it is the price tag that's associated with Sean Payton. It's pricey. It's looking at like 20 mil per year, a first round draft pick. I mean, it's pretty wild what the Saints are looking to get in exchange for Peyton. Will they get that? I don't know. Don't let me get ahead of myself. Let's take a look here at what has happened since this all kind of began here in the off season. Within the last 24 hours, again, we have learned that Frank Reich has signed with North Carolina. So there are no longer 5 teams vying for a head coach. There are now 4 teams that still have open spots. And there's one less candidate, right? So, friend of the show, Cardinals beat reporter Donnie Druin has a new article out, which is great. It's fantastic. Make sure you go visit Donnie at Donnie Druin on Twitter. Find his work at Sports Illustrated for the Arizona Cardinals, because his most recent article is about Sean Payton and how the Cardinals could be maybe the only viable option for him at this point. And it's not even necessarily that viable. So what has changed here in Sean Payton being, like I said, the darling of the media as it relates to the open head coaching positions and the candidates. Well, let's start with Carolina. Number one, they're out. That is one less team vying for Sean Payton as a candidate. I should probably back up. I mean, why does everybody want him? He's been coach of the year. He's won a Super Bowl. He's gotten, the Saints through a period where they were just winning, winning, winning. So he's got a very talented resume. However, Carolina has gone with Frank Wright. So they're out. Secondly, D'Amico Ryans has kind of emerged as the new favorite. He's obviously successful with the 49ers, and it looks like he's edging out Sean Payton as the favorite among teams, particularly with the Texans. And this kind of bums me out because I think that D'Amico would be a great fit here in Arizona. I would love to see that, but it looks like the Texans may be the strongest fit for him if he chose to leave the 49ers and take on a head coaching position. So there's that. 3. Sean Payton has yet to interview with the Colts, which is a team that has an open spot here. And it doesn't seem likely that he would be interviewing with the Colts at this time. From what I'm reading, they want to go a different direction, which probably doesn't involve $20 million in a first round draft pick. So I don't see him interviewing there. 4th, Denver at one point here looked like the landing place for Sean Payton. I read reports, yeah, this is all but done. There was a second interview scheduled, and that interview was either canceled or pushed back. There are varying degrees of drama there. Canceled or pushed back in favor of Sean Payton interviewing in Arizona yesterday. So did he burn a bridge? I don't know, but he either canceled or pushed back that interview in order to meet with the Cardinals. So that's really kind of interesting news, I guess. Um, those are the things that have changed, and it makes it sound as if Arizona is really the only team at this point that might be interested, available, a place where he's not burned a bridge. I don't know. I mean, that's not to say that he's not going to have an opportunity for a second interview in Denver. I found that super interesting to be like, you know what? Hold that thought. I'm going to go interview with Arizona, even though I had you on the books for today. I find that a little bit crazy, um, but it happened. All of that being said, I don't see the Cardinals paying up for Sean Payton like that. We have a ton of rebuilding to do, whether it's through the free agency, which, yes, we absolutely need to take advantage of what's going on in the free agency. 2, we need our picks, our rookie picks, to bring in young, fresh players and rebuild this team almost from the ground up. I mean, we have a lot of losses between retirement, injury, aging, trading rumors. There's a lot going on, and I don't see at this point, as of this day, I don't see us even contending next year. Um, but all of that can change for sure, depending on what we do. But bringing in Sean Payton as a coach strategically, that sounds ideal. He's successful, but financially, it sounds not great. especially with the pending contracts that are still out there that still have to be paid. Those are guaranteed, and that's a lot of money that's still owed to people no longer with the organization. Oh, that was a lot, but I guess we'll see. We're gonna have to see how this shakes out. This All of these little points that I had given to you have all happened within the last 24 hours. I go and I check my headlines just before I come on the air. And yeah, 22 hours ago is the oldest report that I read and reported to you today. So crazy, crazy, crazy. The drama goes on. Goodness gracious, 6 pound, 8 ounce, sweet little baby infant Jesus. Can we close the book on this and just move forward? That would be great. Thanks. Love, me and everybody else. Oh, goodness. Okay. Now, moving on. I know that this is the sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast out there, but I want to talk about the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl in general, and it does not include the Arizona Cardinals, but let's talk about as an event because it's happening here in my home state. Super excited about it. And this morning, as I was gathering my resources, checking my notes, I received a press release just this morning from the NFL, and it made my heart swell, just swell with pride. And I wanted to share that with you because not everybody gets the press releases from the NFL. So here we are sharing with you, hot off the presses this morning, January 27th, from NFL. The NFL has selected four Pat Tillman Foundation scholars to serve as honorary cap for this Super Bowl. They will be using the coin toss as a moment in time to honor the life, legacy, sacrifice of Arizona Cardinals safety, Pat Tillman. He was a U.S. Army Ranger. If you weren't aware, in 2002, um, Pat said, you know what? With everything that happened on September 11th, I am going to go serve my country. I feel like it's my duty. So he put his NFL career on hold, and the Cardinals, were very supportive of that at the time. Arizona, of course, very proud and very supportive at the time. And he went off and enlisted in the U.S. Army for a 3-year term. And during that term, tragically, he lost his life while serving on April 22nd, 2004. And he had been in Afghanistan at that time. So, if you didn't know that story, that is the story behind Pat Tillman and the Arizona Cardinals and the NFL, and how now they're working together to create the Pat Tillman Foundation. So, now that I got that out of the way, 4 of the Pat Tillman Foundation scholars have been chosen, and they're going to be at the Super Bowl, and they are going to take part in this coin toss moment to honor Pat. So it's really, really meaningful. Like I said, it made my heart really swell, and I am excited to see if the NFL creates any additional moments to highlight the sacrifice that Pat Tillman made for our country, being that this year's Super Bowl is in Arizona and he was an Arizona Cardinal. It's a great way to highlight the foundation, and highlight the work that they do because, like I said, um, the foundation is associated with the NFL proper. It's part of the salute to service, and together they provide scholarships to military families and those with a military background through these scholarships. And those scholarship recipients then go out and do great things for their communities. So I'm really kind of interested in seeing if there are any other ways that they will be highlighting Pat Tillman. And for sure, I will be wanting to share those moments with you because his legacy really makes me proud to be a native Arizonan. Yes. Sorry. I think about it and it does. It really makes me proud. So I can't wait to, like I said, see if anything else comes across the wire. I'm building um, my plan for the Super Bowl, the places that I want to visit, that I want to cover, that I want to have pictures of and video of and interviews that I want to do. There's a lot. There's so much to cram into so little time. But this is one of the things I wanted to share with you and that I'm hoping I'll be able to capture. Next week, I'm going to be traveling back to California to Trophy Smack headquarters where I have my day job, and I'll be there where I will interview my coworker at Kickin' the Bits, Dougie Fresh, 49ers season ticket holder, fan extraordinaire. And by the time we record next week, we will know if the 49ers are divisional champions and moving on to the Super Bowl or not. Either way, it's going to be a good show for sure. So you'll want to tune in next week to hear that discussion. And hopefully I'll have a little bit more news on what I'm planning to cover at the Super Bowl. It'll be a little less than 2 weeks before I'm back again here in Phoenix. So time flies when you're having fun, and the events are going to be coming fast and furious. Planning my calendar for the next several months already seems daunting because we're going to have the combine, we're going to have the draft, we're going to have, all of these things coming up, and I can't wait to be a part of them and share them with you. So starting with next week, very simple. We'll just have an interview with, like I said, my colleague and coworker, Doug. We'll talk about the divisional championships happening this weekend, how they played out, and what to look for as we head into the Super Bowl. And hopefully, we may have some closure on that head coach position for the Cardinals. Let me know what your thoughts are. Who do you see as a front runner? Who has not been discussed that you wish was being discussed? Be sure to tweet me at Kelly in Phoenix or tweet the pod at SickPodKelly, and we would be happy to, have that discussion with you. I want to hear from you, and maybe I'll feature your tweet or your comment on the show. So that's about it. That's what I've got to share with you this week. I hope you enjoyed this little reprieve in your day, a little coffee break, whatever it is that you do when you listen to pods. And I hope to see you next week. Take care. Bye.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Kelly Singh on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.